Je vous aime beaucoup. Je ne sais pas what to do. You know you've completely stolen my heart.
You're telling me Elmer's gone.
Yes, ma'am.
You're also telling me that Orville's gone too.
Yes, ma'am.
You're telling me they both vanished into thin air.
Yes, ma'am.
Please, Bunsen, you're worse than a broken record. You aren't in a courtroom. You don't have to answer yes or no. You can elaborate.
I's already told you all I know, Glee, which ain't much. They is just gone.
That's the truth, ma'am. They both just were here 1 minute and gone the next. They simply vanished.
All it takes is one witness to get a conviction, doesn't it, Officer Jack?
Yes, ma'am.
Don't you start in on me now.
Sorry, ma'am.
What am I going to do with the both of you? I've often complained about having some peace and quiet on the station, but this is going a little too far.
What are we going to do, Glee? We's got to find Elmer.
Orville too.
Well, yeah, naturally. But Elmer, he's just so young. There's no way he can handle what's out there on his own, whereas Orville...
Orville seems to be able to handle himself all right.
I think it's safe to assume that wherever Elmer is, Orville is too.
Is it safe to assume anything, Glee? Ever?
Sometimes it is, Jack. Especially up here. Even more especially where Orville is concerned. Whatever is going on with him, whatever has been going on with him lately, is coming to a head. Somehow, it's pulled him off the station. Whatever pulled him off seems to have grabbed our young Elmer too. Both Elmer and Orville are, shall I say, of a similar persuasion. Somewhat spoiled, but both struggling to find a better path. That they both vanished at about the same time seems to make sense. Whatever drew Orville away, pulled Elmer away too. Whatever Orville is, Elmer is.
That means if Orville can take care of himself, he'll watch out for Elmer too.
So they both should be all right, at least for a time.
Assuming much, Jack.
You said it would be all right, Glee, at least up here.
You'll learn fast, Jack. Good.
Learning is great now, Glee, when there's something to learn, but we's got nada, dilly. We's up crick without a paddle. We's ain't Samuel Glee. We's ain't none of us dedicated to God at birth. We's not being called 3 times, then on the 4th time being told what to do. We're struck in silence without a clue. How on earth, or off it, are we going to find those 2 lost souls?
That face, Bunsen. It served Samuel well, didn't it?
Samuel sure did. He talked directly with God.
Don't you?
Yeah, well, sure I do. But that's different.
Only how Hollywood has presented it. That's different. Talking to God hasn't changed since Adam.
Speaking of lost souls, I could use a compass myself. It's been a long time since I read past Joshua in the Old Testament. I remember Samuel as a great prophet, being told to appoint Saul. Then David as kings of Israel, but that's about it. What's this business about being called 4 times?
Well, before Samuel was born, his mama went and done lamented the following. O Lord of hosts, if thou wilt indeed look on the affliction of thine handmaid, and remember me, and not forget thine handmaid, but will give unto thine handmaid a man-child, then I will give him unto the Lord all the days of his life, and there shall no razor come upon his head. Eli, the prophet of Israel at the time, told her that God granted her petition. Not long after, Samuel was born. His mama was so grateful to God for answering her prayers for a baby, that she went and dedicated her baby boy's entire life to him. Samuel was from that point on the path to becoming Eli's eventual successor. But that was a long time away. However, there was one event when Samuel was still young that would foreshadow what was to come. From the first book of Samuel, otherwise called the first book of Kings. And the child Samuel ministered unto the Lord before Eli. And the word of the Lord was precious in those days. There was no open vision. And it came to pass at that time, when Eli was laid down in his place, and his eyes began to wax dim, that he could not see. And there the lamp of God went out in the temple of the Lord, where the ark of God was, and Samuel was laid down to sleep. That the Lord called Samuel, and he answered, Here I am. And he ran unto Eli and said, Here I am, for thou calledest me. And he said, I called not, lie down again. And he went and lay down. And the Lord called yet again, Samuel. And Samuel arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for thou didst call me. And he answered, I called not my son, lie down again. Now Samuel did not yet know the Lord, neither was the word of the Lord yet revealed unto him. And the Lord called Samuel again the third time, and he arose and went to Eli and said, Here I am, for thou didst call me. And Eli perceived that the Lord had called the child. Therefore Eli said unto Samuel, Go, lie down, and it shall be, if he call thee, that thou shalt say, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. So Samuel went and lay down in his place. And the Lord came and stood and called, as at the other time, Samuel, Samuel. Then Samuel answered, Speak, for thy servant heareth. And the Lord said to Samuel, Behold, I will do a thing in Israel, at which both the ears of every one that heareth it shall tingle. In that day I will perform against Eli all things which I have spoken concerning his house. When I begin, I will also make an end. For I have told him that I will judge his house forever for the iniquity which he knoweth, because his sons made themselves vile, and he restrained them not. And therefore I have sworn unto the house of Eli, that the iniquity of Eli's house shall not be purged with sacrifice nor offering forever. And Samuel lay until the morning, and opened the doors of the house of the Lord, and Samuel feared to shew Eli the vision. Then Eli called Samuel, and said, Samuel, my son. And he answered, Here I am. And he said, What is this thing that the Lord hath said unto thee? I pray thee, hide it not from me. God do so to thee, and more also, if thou hide anything from me of all the things that he said unto thee. And Samuel told him every whit, and hid nothing from him. And he said, It is the Lord, let him do what seemeth him good. And Samuel grew, and the Lord was with him, and did let none of his words fall to the ground. And all Israel from Dan, even to Beersheba, knew that Samuel was established to be a prophet of the Lord.
Several hundred years after the Israelites had escaped out of Egypt and entered the promised land of Canaan, there lived a man whose name was Elkanah. This man had a wife named Hannah. Hannah had long wanted a child, and in her sorrow she often cried and wouldn't eat. When she and Elkanah went to worship at the tabernacle at Shiloh, Hannah prayed fervently to the Lord, saying, Lord, if you will give me a boy, I will give him to you all the days of his life. Eli, the high priest, saw Hannah's lips move, but hearing no words, he thought she was drunk. He spoke harshly to her until she explained.
I'm not drunk. I've been praying to the Lord because my heart is full of sorrow.
Well, then go in peace, and may the God of Israel give you what you ask of him.
May you continue to be kind to me.
And Hannah kept her promise to the Lord. When her son, whom she called Samuel, was still very young, she and her husband brought him to the house of the Lord, to Eli.
I am the woman who prayed here. I prayed for this child, and the Lord gave him to me. In return, I'm giving him to the Lord as long as he lives.
Then may the Lord reward you by giving you more children. And may this child become a great prophet and leader in Israel.
So with a joyful heart, Hannah offered a prayer of thanks to God before going home with her husband, leaving Samuel to begin his life in the service of the Lord. The years passed, and under the guidance of Eli, Samuel eagerly learned the word of the Lord. And as the boy grew older, Eli came to appreciate more and more Samuel's love for the Lord, his ready obedience and devotion to his work. But how different were his own sons. Although Eli's sons, Hophni and Phinehas, were priests, they were men who despised God and caused the people to despise the worship of God in the tabernacle. But the day was coming when Eli's sons would be punished for their wickedness, as God was about to make known to Samuel. One night, soon after Samuel lay down to sleep, the Lord called to him,
Samuel, Samuel.
Not understanding that God was speaking to him, Samuel hurried to Eli.
Here I am. You called me?
Why, no, I didn't call you, my son. Go, lie down again.
Samuel.
Once more, Samuel heard the voice calling him. Again he got up and went to Eli. But the priest, thinking that the boy merely had a dream, sent him back to bed a second time.
Samuel.
Here I am. You called?
Go, lie down. And when you are called again, say, "Speak, Lord. Your servant is listening."
Samuel.
Speak, Lord. Your servant is listening.
Then God spoke to Samuel, telling him that Eli's sons would be punished for their wickedness. Samuel was afraid to tell Eli the sad news of the punishment God would bring upon his family. He lay awake the rest of the night. The next morning, however, Eli insisted on hearing what God had told Samuel. And when he heard what was going to happen, he knew in his heart that this was only just. His sons had been wicked, and he himself had sinned in being too lenient with them.
It is the Lord. May he do what seems right to him. Come.
And Samuel grew, always serving the Lord faithfully. And God continued to speak to him. Soon, Israelites from every part of the country realized that Samuel was a prophet of the Lord. And it came to pass that the Israelites went to war against the Philistines. And because the tide of battle was going against Israel, Eli's sons brought the Ark of the Covenant to the battlefield, hoping that it would help save the Israelites. But the Philistines won a great victory. They killed Eli's sons and carried off the Ark of the Covenant. When Eli heard the news of the battle, how his 2 sons had been killed and the Ark of the Covenant had been taken, he fell from his seat and died. After the death of Eli, Samuel became the ruler of the people. For many years he traveled from city to city, not only settling the disputes of the people, but urging them to serve God with all their hearts. For above everything else, Samuel continued to be a man dedicated to the Lord and a prophet and teacher of God's word. During the years that Samuel judged the people, the Philistines were pushed back from the land and their idols destroyed. So once again, the one true God was worshipped in the land of Canaan. Then one day when Samuel was old, the elders of Israel set out for his home in Ramah on an important mission. They wanted Samuel to give them a king to rule over them. For Samuel's sons, whom he had appointed judges over Israel, took bribes and were unfair and did not walk in the righteous ways of their father. When Samuel heard that the people wanted a king, he was very much displeased. Was not God their king? As in the past, when faced with a problem, Samuel turned to God in prayer. Then he began to point out to the elders some of the evils of having a king rule over the land.
He will take your sons and make them work for himself. He will take 1/10 of your grain and of your flocks, and you will be his servants. And then you will complain of this king whom you yourselves have chosen. But the Lord will not answer you.
No, we want a king. We want to be like all the other nations. Our king will lead and fight our battles.
When Samuel saw that the people were determined to have a king, he spoke again to the Lord. And the Lord said to Samuel, "Do what they ask you, and give them a king." With a heavy heart, Samuel told the elders to return home and tell the people that they would soon have a king. The choice of a king was important, for it would affect the entire history of Israel. So once more, Samuel turned to God for guidance, and the answer came clearly.
Tomorrow about this time, I will send you a man from the land of Benjamin. Anoint him to lead my people.
The next day, Samuel saw 2 strangers entering the city. They were Saul of the tribe of Benjamin and his servant. They were far from home, looking for some donkeys that had been lost. Saul was very tall, a head taller than anyone else. And the Lord said to Samuel, "There is the man about whom I told you. He shall rule my people." And Samuel spoke to Saul and invited him to eat with him and stay with him that night. The next morning, when Saul and his servants started back to their home, Samuel went with them a short distance. After telling Saul to send his servant ahead, he said,
Stand here a while that I may show you the will of God. The Lord has now anointed you to be leader of his people, Israel.
Thus the Lord chose Saul to be the first king of Israel. And Samuel gave Saul several proofs by which he would know that he was to rule the people of Israel. Later, Samuel called the people together and publicly introduced Saul as the first king of Israel, saying, "See whom the Lord has chosen."
Long live the king!
Saul soon showed himself to be a great soldier. After a war with the Ammonites, in which he led an army of 30,000 Israelites to victory, Samuel called the people together at Gilgal, where Saul was officially crowned king of Israel. This was an occasion of great rejoicing for the newly crowned king and the men of Israel. But Samuel warned the people, saying,
"Now the Lord has set a king over you. If you will fear the Lord your God and obey him, and if you and the king will follow the Lord, then all will be well with you. But if you will not listen to the Lord and rebel against him, then he will be against you and will punish you. Now, therefore, pause a moment and see this great thing, which the Lord will do before your eyes. Is it not the time of the wheat harvest? I will call to the Lord, and he will send thunder and rain, so that you will see how wicked you were when you asked for a king."
Then Samuel called upon the Lord, and he sent thunder and rain. When it was over, all the people feared the Lord and Samuel very much, and they asked Samuel to pray for them.
May I never sin against the Lord by no longer praying for you. And I will go on teaching you all that is good and right. Only fear the Lord. Serve him faithfully with all your heart. And consider all the great things he has done for you.
But the time came when King Saul willfully disobeyed the Lord. Just before a great battle with the Philistines, he became impatient and offered a sacrifice for the success of his army in battle without waiting for Samuel to arrive, even though he knew that God had forbidden anyone except his priests to do such a thing.
What have you done?
You took so long in coming, and I feared the Philistines would attack us. I was forced to do this.
You did a foolish thing. You did not do as the Lord commanded. Because of your disobedience, God will take away your kingdom and will appoint another king to lead his people, one who obeys him in every way.
But Saul continued to ignore Samuel's warnings, and Samuel was saddened by Saul's unfaithfulness to the Lord. Then one day, God spoke to Samuel.
How long will you grieve over Saul? I have rejected him from being king of Israel. Fill your horn with oil. I am sending you to Jesse in Bethlehem, because I have chosen one of his sons to be the king.
So, with Saul rejected, Samuel made ready at once for the journey to Bethlehem to anoint a second king, a man after God's own heart. Here was a man completely dedicated to the Lord, a man who knew the will of God and did it. as a boy in the tabernacle, as a leader of God's people, as a teacher of God's word, as a prophet and a maker of kings.
So what you're saying is that Samuel from birth had the ear of God?
Pretty much.
We could use that now.
What I've been saying is we have the ear of God.
But what some of us lack is the faith of belief. Even after all we've been through, it's one thing to have faith when the going is easy, but it's another thing to have it when the going gets rough.
I'm sure even Samuel had his moments, Bunsen. Don't be so hard on yourself.
Do you really think so, Glee? I mean about Samuel having his moments of doubt.
The Bible says even Moses had his moments of doubt. If Moses doubted, everyone has it within them.
That's true. Moses did have his moments where he'd say, "Who, me, Lord? You sure about that? Wouldn't someone else be better?" As I remember, Moses wasn't the best speaker in the world. That's why Aaron was chosen to speak for him.
But what about Samuel and Eli?
Well, Eli eventually died. Samuel took his place. As you said, the people of Israel demanded a king. Only God, well, he is the king. But the people of Israel wanted a human king like all the other nations. Samuel went and told them how they'd be taken advantage of if they went and had a human king, flawed and all, but the people still wanted one, so they got Saul. That went all right for a while, but eventually Saul lost his way, and the Lord had to choose another. Like you remember, Jack, that other was David.
But I remember something about Samuel, something about him, a witch, and Saul. Might that not have something to do with what we're going through now?
I'd forgotten about that.
I did too.
Then said Saul unto his servants, Seek me a woman who has a familiar spirit, that I may go to her and inquire of her. And the servant said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor.
The first book of Samuel, otherwise called the first book of Kings. And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night. And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by thy familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee.
And the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits, and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life, to cause me to die?
And Saul sware to her by the Lord, saying, As the Lord liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing.
Then said the woman, Whom shall I bring unto thee? And he said, Bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice. And the woman spake to Saul, saying, Why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul.
And the king said unto her, Be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth.
And he said unto her, What form is he of? And she said, An old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel. And he stopped with his face to the ground, and bowed himself.
And Samuel said to Saul, Why hast thou disquieted me, to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am sore distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answered me no more, neither by prophets, nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. Then said Samuel, Wherefore then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord is departed from thee, and is become thine enemy? And the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me, and the Lord hath done to him as he spake by me. For the Lord hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David. Because thou obeyest not the voice of the Lord, nor executed his fierce wrath upon Amalek, therefore hath the Lord done this thing unto thee this day. Moreover, the Lord will also deliver Israel with thee into the hand of the Philistines, for he had eaten no bread all the day, nor all the night. And the woman came unto Saul, and saw that he was sore troubled, and said unto him, Behold, thine handmaid hath obeyed thy voice, and I have put my life in my hand, and have hearkened unto thy words which thou spakest unto me. Saul died because of his association with the witch.
Yeah, the Lord does not take that broken commandment lightly, Jack.
So if these disappearances have anything to do with that dream lady that Orville has been seeing,
then this is a life and death situation for both Orville and Elmer.
We don't have a lot of time.
what are we going to do?
We pray.
How?
Just pray, Jack. Any way you know how. Then wait for the Lord to speak to you.
Lord, guide us through this most difficult of times. We seek your wisdom. Guide us on this path. Help us on our journey. We're not going to make it on our own, Lord. We need you right now. Elmer and Orville need you right now. Help us, God. Help us get back together. Protect us until we are all safe and together again. Help us, God. Help us. Bathroom.
Not now, Benson. You should have gone before we started.
No, Glee. It's Orville and the restrooms.
I hate to sound like one of Glee's broken records, Bunsen, but again, I'm not following you.
You haven't been up here much, Jack, so I can understand how yous might be a little off when we's talking. It's no problem. Just keep on like you's been doing and asking questions, and we's more than happy to answer 'em.
That's mighty understanding of you, Bunsen. You too, Glee.
Don't mention it, Jack. It's just the way we all are.
But what about the restroom?
Think back a bit. The night watchman, the overseer, the toilets getting backed up, and the first flood. Halloween when Orville first tried to repeat the flood. The repeated floods, all the way to the point where a new main deck and the bridge was needed. Y'all's got to remember Orville isn't one of us, at least not in the way Daddy's from Earth in the same way as we is. He's different, his senses are different, so just maybe his obsession with flushing out these demons means more than has been given it credit for. I know it's not a lot to go on, but...
No, Bunsen. I think you are on the right track. It's so obvious, but because we tend to overlook the obvious, we missed it all along. Orville was subconsciously offering himself and us a clue on how to handle his nightmares, his attacks. There is something in it, alright. We've just got to figure out what it is or isn't, or where it is or isn't. Or, Bunsen, when you blurted out bathrooms, do you think that's what God was revealing to you?
Yeah, Glee, I think so.
Then that's the direction we're going to go. Computer, scan for any abnormalities in the space-time continuum in the vicinity of the space station laboratory. Scanning. Inconclusive.
Really?
That confirms it.
How so? Is it inconclusive, not affirmative?
With a scan of this nature, the computer should come back with a simple yes or no. That it's saying maybe means something is out of whack in the John. Computer, run a subliminal nature scan underneath the prime reality substructure surrounding the station bathroom.
Working. Error.
What kind of error?
Substructure impasse.
In which direction?
Byway.
Status?
Open.
Bingo.
Bunsen,
Don't worry, Jack. Even I'm lost on this one. Whenever he starts talking to the computer like that, I'm off to the medicine cabinet for some aspirin.
I'm glad I'm not alone then.
The computer just said there's a rip in the space-time continuum in the bathroom. And it's open. It's open, Jack and Glee, it's open. Wherever Orville and Emma are, they got taken there through a portal in our station's bathroom.
You're saying there's a portal to hell in your bathroom?
Pack your bags, boys. We're going on a little field trip. So, we're not dead?
Not quite, my lad. At least, not yet.
That's reassuring.
I'm not one to lie to you and spare your feelings just because you're young. You want the truth? I'll give it to you.
That's why I like you, Captain. You don't look down on kids just because we're young. If you like us because of who we are. You give everyone a fair shake, or shake down.
If there's a profit to be made...
How do you spell profit, Captain?
Don't be cute.
So where are we going?
Wherever there is to go. Everywhere. Nowhere. It doesn't seem to matter. Whoever brought us here seems to want us here. All we have to do is wait for them to show up.
You know who they are, don't you? You do, don't you? I know you do.
I hope I'm wrong.
But you aren't. You're too smart to be wrong.
This time I hope I'm not smart enough. Even the smart of us can outsmart ourselves sometimes. Let us hope this is one of those times.
Why, Captain?
Because if I'm right, then that means...
Hello again, Orville. Huh? But it's...
Kathy.
But why? How? You never know a person until you really know them. Orville knows me, don't you, Orville?
I'm beginning to.
Were you right, Captain?
Yes. I suspected Kathy as being behind the events plaguing me. Kathy calling me on my dead phone sealed it.
I didn't know the phone was dead. I just thought the line was busy. I enchanted it to get through. I didn't know the phone was broken. Orville, you are always so right. That's one of the things I like about you.
Like?
Yes, Orville. Present tense. You put me off when you saw me the other day. Down there, Orville. But in here... I'll still put you off. Perhaps. Such a deadhead on Earth. A nerd, now a religious fanatic. Was it any surprise that I left you, Orville? You needn't respond. I always knew what you were thinking. I always know. How do you think I got into your dreams so easily? I am the key to your subconscious. It was so simple to get what I needed from you, when I needed it.
Using people does not come without a price, Kathy.
What price have I paid? I've gotten all I wanted and given up nothing.
What did you need from me? Exactly.
I found you interesting, exciting, a prime specimen physically. Yet mentally you are a bust, a bore, a drag, Orville. I had better dates in a bag at the grocery store.
So again I ask, what did you get from me? Cat and mouse, is that the game?
Perhaps. You like?
I once thought I was in love with you. I never thought I'd say that.
Why? You aren't anymore?
I never thought I'd say I wasn't in love with you, Kathy. Much less that I never was.
Oh, you were, Orville. You were, and you still are.
No, Kathy, I'm not. You know something else I never was. All you know about love is what I knew about love when we were together. What we could see, touch, smell. The things the senses told us. But that's not love, Kathy. It's lust, pure and simple. Love is far more. It's also far more special. It's pure because love comes directly from God.
Don't give me that Bible thumper special, Orville. It's just not in you. It's not you.
It is now, because God's love is in me. It's not the passion you and I felt, which you obviously are still looking for in others.
Like the guy who ran off with all your money. Quiet, troublemaker. How did you find out about that? You crawl under our house, you hear things.
We'll need to have a talk when this is all over, my boy.
Yes, I loved Osbert. He was a doll, handsome like no other. A full head of hair, unlike some of us here. A beautiful, muscular body. He knew how to show a girl a good time. A fancy sports car. He knew all the hot spots in town. And he wasn't afraid to take a girl there and get crazy on the dance floor. He just expected her to pay for the night herself.
Oh, really? A gigolo?
No, he was a doll.
You buy dolls.
Besides the point. Especially after tonight. I got what I needed from him as I got what I needed from you. As I'll finally get what I need from you.
Again with getting what you need. Always getting, always you about you. For someone so concerned about love, you sure don't talk much about loving, about giving, do you, Kathy?
What do you know about loving, Orville? When we were together, you weren't exactly a saint yourself.
No, it wasn't. So what's happening now is, in large part, my fault for not being better than I was.
Oh, you weren't so bad, Orville. You did have your good points as well.
Unfortunately, those two, Kathy. God's love is pure love, not the romantic love that we've grown accustomed to in this world. All our love must be founded in His love. Any love that isn't is based in our passions, our lust. Only when we are able to receive God's love into our heart are we able to give real love, God's love, to others.
It sounds so incredibly sweet.
As you've created this place out of mysticism, I'm able to use this mist to show you this.
Dear Diary, tonight will be the most wonderful night of my life. Oh, Brad.
I wait through every day and hope today will be the day you'll fall in love with only me.
I'm hoping.
If you haven't told her how to behave before, you're not going to tell her tonight. Who's she going with?
Brad Martin. You know, his father's that big corporation lawyer.
Oh, yeah, Fancy Martin.
They're leaders in the church, but I'm afraid he might be taking advantage of Penny. And, Dan, I want you to stop it.
You want me to stop it? Holy. Etta, how much did that thing cost?
Please, he's here.
Wait a minute. I asked that question. Now, how much did that dress cost?
Only $49.50.
49?
Well, other girls were spending as much
Ada,
as
look
60.
at me. Do I look like I'm made of money? Look at these
All right,
pants.
Dan. We know that you can't be
Mother,
depended
Daddy,
upon to earn
please,
what
we'll
others...
hear you.
I'll say what I like in my own house. What'd you have to do, buy an original Paris creation?
Well, she's not going to wear last year's dress made over.
It's only half there. No wonder you're worried
Daddy,
about her
Mother,
morals.
please stop. Hi, Brad. Come on in.
You don't really need this, but
Thank you. I think you already know my mother.
good evening, Mrs. Harris.
Good evening, Brad.
And this is my father, Father Brad Martin.
It's a pleasure to meet you, sir.
Hi, how's that new TV work I sold you?
Oh, it works just fine, sir.
Well, it should. It's the best model we ever carried in the shop. What time you kids planning on getting back tonight?
I don't know exactly. I guess it'll last till after midnight.
What do they do, just let your kids run wild?
Oh, no, sir. Even Ken Walker, the youth director from our church, will be there.
I asked you if you wanted to help Daddy.
I want you to come home right afterwards. Do you understand?
But, Mom, all the kids go to the coffee houses and things afterwards.
What things? Parking?
No, you kids come right back tonight.
We will, Mr. Harris.
Should we go?
Goodbye, Penny.
Good night, Mrs. Harris.
Good night.
It's been a pleasure to meet you, sir.
We'll see you kids later.
Right.
Bye, Dad.
Now be a lady. He heard you shouting.
He heard me shouting. You could hear her screeching 10 blocks.
When you're in love with someone.
Remember coming to me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest?
I remember. Mr. Walker said that last Sunday at Young People.
Jesus Christ said it, and he meant it too, Penny.
Brad, do you let the Lord lead in your life, like Mr. Walker said, in everything?
Probably not. But I'm trying. I'm praying that he will.
Did you ask him whether you should take me to the senior party?
This may sound a little corny, Penny, but yes, I did. And I ask you.
Unless you confess you
Get a load of Penny Harris. Wow.
Hi, Brad.
Man, oh
Hi,
man.
Brad.
Chick's come alive, you know?
You're a little bit late.
Yeah,
but
didn't
I
she
think
used to
Charlie
date
has
her
a
one
table for you
time?
back in the
Looks
back.
like I stopped around too soon.
That's great. The program started off soon a little bit, okay? Oh, hiya, Penny. Where you been keeping yourself?
Hello, dear.
Hi, fellas. Hey, what's for dessert, Penny, baby?
Ease off, friend.
Oh, fine. Sure, big man. Huh? We'll see you around, Penny.
What's with him?
Oh, I don't know. I dated him once last year. Now he thinks I'm a part of his harem. I can stand his line.
Forget it.
Hey, good buddy. I'm glad you made it.
Hi, Charlie boy.
It didn't cost that much.
If you had to earn the money around here, you'd think it didn't cost that much.
Where are you going?
Out of here. I've had enough nagging for one night.
You're not going to the alibi again, not tonight.
I'll go where I please. Seems like I earn the money around here, but everybody else can spend it.
All right, you'll be home before Penny gets back. I'm worried about her.
If she doesn't get any more excited than you do, there's nothing to worry about.
Dan. Is that you, Penny, dear?
No. It's not me, Penny, dear. It's your ever-loving Danny boy. Remember it, honey? Oh, Danny boy.
Oh, that song.
The pipe.
Whenever I need you, you get like this.
Calling.
And now it's so late, we should be out
From
looking for
Glen
Penny.
to Glen.
So what good are you? Look at you.
I only had a couple.
I can never depend on you.
Oh, Danny
Every time there's a
boy.
crisis, I have to face it alone.
The pipe.
And now with Penny out, and I'm worried
Don't
about her.
worry about Penny.
No, Dan,
Your
stop
Danny
it.
boy is
No,
here,
no,
baby.
no, leave me
Out of-
alone.
out of girl and a
No,
baby.
Dan,
Come to
stop
Danny.
it. You're always drunk.
I'll show you who's drunk.
You're big off. I had it for sure.
What do we do now?
Let's run the beach.
Run the beach?
Sure, you take off your shoes and socks and run in the surf.
Come on, let's go.
Rest here a minute. I can't run anymore.
Okay, Penny.
Brad. Thank you for such a wonderful night. Oh, Brad. Say it.
Why, I'll teach you.
Okay, you don't understand. I've got to help him. You've hurt him. I've got to stay with him. I can't leave him like this. Oh, please let me come back.
I love her, God. Is that wrong?
Hey, look, Brad Martin.
Is he hurt? Here comes Ken.
Sit down there. Tell that Martin a thing or two.
Penny. Dan, what happened?
What happened? I'll show you what happened. Look at her. Look at her. Take a good look. All $49 worth. You really impressed the town, didn't you? Your daughter was better than any of theirs. Well, look at her. No, look at her. $49 shot to pieces in one night. I hope you're satisfied.
I'm sorry, Mama. I'll pay for the dress somehow.
Darling, how did you do this?
I caught her rolling on the beach with that Martin kid.
Penny, is this true?
Nothing happened, Mama. Really. Give me.
Why, you little tramp. If you ever do a thing like that again, I'll kill you. Now get to your room.
Oh, Mama, I didn't mean... Daddy.
Hello, Lawyer Martin.
Oh, diary. What can I do?
Yes, they're checking the x-rays. You can talk to him.
Hello, son.
Dad. Mom. Is Penny all right?
Well, Mr. Harris didn't say much about her.
We didn't do anything wrong, Dad. Why was he so mad?
From what he told us, he had good reason, Brad.
He had no reason. Besides, I love her. That isn't wrong.
Love does not insist on its own way.
Scripture verses. I'd hoped you'd believe me.
We do believe you, son.
Just tell us what happened.
You wouldn't believe me. You believe that drunken maniac, Mr. Harris.
He needs help, too.
Don't judge him.
The doctor says you can be released if the x-rays are good. We'll be back later, son.
Oh, hello, Mrs. Martin. Well, I don't see the point in discussing it any further. Penny's confined to her room, and she's not to see Brad again. He's in the hospital now. No, we hadn't heard. Is he badly hurt?
You football players are all alike. You look tough, but you're really very sensitive. Your parents will be coming in a few minutes to pick you up. They certainly are nice.
Penny, how did you get in here?
Sorry for what Father. I had to see you, Brad. Were you badly hurt? Oh, I'm glad. It's not different now, is it, Brad? Is it?
Penny.
Oh, I see. I take too much for granted. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to have bothered you.
Oh, God. What's wrong?
Oh, Penny.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Penny.
Won't you sit down? Russ, take these things to Brad, please.
All right.
Perhaps you'd like a ride home from the hospital.
No, I don't think so, Mrs. Martin.
Nonsense. We're not going to stop living because of one crisis. Of course you'll go home with us. The world seems mixed up, doesn't it, Penny? We're all looking for love. Everyone needs love. Most of us are starved for love. The world would have us believe that popularity and physical appeal are what love is based on. We are even taught that we must love, that not to love is wrong. So we search desperately for love, if only for a moment to still the gnawing, hungry need for love within us. Our search may become so desperate, so self-centered, that we miss entirely the experience of genuine love.
What is that, Mrs. Martin? What's genuine love?
God's love for us is genuine love, Penny. It is unselfish and freely given. To be genuine, all our love must be founded in His love. The Bible tells that he who loves is born of God and knows God. He who does not love does not know God, for God is love. Any love which seeks for self-gratification cannot be genuine, because it is not like God's love. The Bible also says, "In this is love, not that we loved God, but that He loved us and sent His Son to atone for our sins." We love because He first loved us. Only when we receive the love of God are we able to give it, genuinely, without anxiety, unselfishly, thinking only of the best interests of the one we love as God does. Then it inspires a genuine love in return. This may not be the sensational, romantic love we're looking for. It will not insist upon physical gratification, even though the physical desire may be great, because the best interest of the loved one will always be a part of it. But it will be deep and truly satisfying in the giving, because God is in it. God is love. We know that if God's love is in it, then Brad's love for you and your love for him will endure and grow.
Brad's love for me. Oh, I hope you saved some of your sermon for Brad. He won't even speak to me.
Hey, Penny, how about a lift? Come on, hop in. We'll make this a wild one, south of the border. Come on.
This time we've really got a level. Look at me, son.
I love Penny, Dad. I really love her.
Then why are you so miserable?
I don't know.
Now, the situation you were caught in was not motivated by love, but by selfish desire. Isn't that true?
Yes.
That selfish desire has hurt many.
I'm sorry, Dad.
I know you are, son. I've forgiven you. But you must ask the forgiveness of others also. Your mother, Mr. and Mrs. Harris.
But, Dad, how can...
And Penny. And God. Brad, you've committed your life to Christ. And I think you're man enough to face this. I'm counting on you, son.
Dad, where can I start to gather in all the loose ends?
Penny, where have you been?
We've had the police out looking for you and everything. Don't you have any consideration for your parents?
We've been worried to death about you.
Mexico, Daddy. Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are... Do you remember Etta, honey?
Were you drunk?
Do you think I haven't heard what's going on down here night after
Shut
night?
your mouth.
Oh, stop it, Dan.
Stop it, Penny, stop it.
Oh, Etta, girl, that's what I said. Oh, I can never depend on you. You're always drunk. Etta, boy.
Penny, come to your senses.
Come to my senses? Oh, that's what love is around this house. It's dirty and cheap and stolen. Oh, you don't love me. You never loved me. You don't even love each other. You don't love anybody. You don't know how. Oh, I don't know how. I wish I could die.
God's love for us is genuine love, Penny. In this is love, not that we loved God, but that He loved us and sent His Son to atone for our sins.
Oh, God. Help me.
Now that you have accepted Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, Penny, God expects you to follow him in the second command. In the book of Matthew, God says, "Take my yoke upon you and learn of me." God loves you, Penny. And in the 13th chapter of 1 Corinthians, he tells us a little about that love. Here we find a deep insight into the loving nature of Jesus Christ. And through this, you can learn to reflect the love that God has placed within your heart. Will you read this chapter tonight before you go to bed, Penny?
Yes, I will, Mr. Walker. I'm so thankful for our pastor and for the counseling staff here at the church. Why, it's been different in our family since my mother and father started coming, too. I can't tell you how grateful I am.
Well, remember, Penny, it's the power of Christ. God's love can work in many different ways. God bless you, and don't forget, I'll be praying for you.
Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. Please, God, let this be true of my love for you, and for Mother and Father, and for Brad.
For God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. For God sent not his Son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already, because he hath not believed in the name of the only begotten Son of God. And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light, because their deeds were evil. For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light, neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved. But he that doeth truth cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they are wrought in God.
Wonderful words of sentiment, Orville. But that's all they will ever be for me. Words. All we have is what's here and now.
The here and now. All there is, all that's here. That's what people thought before the flood. It's what people are beginning to believe again. What's it getting them now, Kathy? What did it get them back then?
What do you mean by that, Orville?
Swept away by their passions, by their lusts. Literally swept off the face of the earth.
Normally I go to the bathroom before I go and enter Bunsen.
I'm not entirely sure what we're supposed to do here.
The computer knows, Glee. We're kinda along for the ride. As brief as it may be.
Putting our faith in the station's computer. I don't know what's going to happen.
1 second we'll be here, the next we'll be wherever Orville and Elmer are.
If you aren't on good terms with the Lord, Jack, now's a good time to get there.
Don't worry about me. We've been on the same page since I was a lad.
So I guess we's all set. All that's left to do is to do it.
Before we go, I'd just like to say this. I don't know where we're going, or what we'll find when we get there. But if I had to be going on a trip like this, I couldn't think of 2 people I'd rather be going with. If my life has to be in the hands of 2 people, you're the 2 I'd want.
Thank you, Glee. If I wanted someone's prayers keeping my back, you know it's you.
I got both your backs, in prayers and action. Don't you worry about that.
Jack, you're A-okay in my book. You's ready.
All set, Bunsen.
Glee?
Let's go.
All's right then. Computer initiate countdown.
I may not have been able to hold on to my last boyfriend. I may not have had the best luck with you, Orville. Now, with your Bible-thumping ways, you're out of my reach. But not all is lost by any means.
What do you mean by that, you old witch?
Quiet, lad. You don't have to ask a woman what she means. Ever. She'll always tell if you give her enough time.
Cute, Orville. Cute. I'm going to get exactly what I've wanted all along from the start. From Osbert. From you, Orville. What I've deserved all along.
And that would be?
As I've said before, I needed something from you. Which I got. I needed something from Osbert, which I handled. The last of my needs will be procured.
I don't like the sound of this.
Your nightmares, Orville, they weren't really nightmares in the strictest sense of the word.
They were real.
As real as a dream can be. I called you. I wanted you. I never got you fully, you know that. But I got close enough to... Well, the proof's in the pudding, as they say. Go. Look around the curtain and see how well Mama can bake.
Go on, Elmer. Take a look.
Alright. Oh no.
What is it?
Prosperitatis